yeah, I mean, obviously there's it was a pretty big story in the maritime world years ago that you were involved in. You want to start at the beginning? I think people will find it. Lots of people from that time will know that story. A lot of people probably won't even know it's you, actually.
Probably not. I had hair back then. So obviously I started my kind of my maritime security journey in East Africa. Quickly went over to West Africa. Luckily, when the money started to dry up on the east, I went over to the west. And
what year was this?
God, what year was it? 2012? About 2012. But obviously, the piracy in Nigeria at the time is very, very different dynamic to what it is on the east. Obviously, on the east coast, international waters, we've got weapons. Obviously, we can defend the ship. In West Africa, you're in territorial waters, so we can't have weapons. We had to rely on GSF, government security forces, such as Inland Waterway Police, because the Navy didn't really want anything to do with it at the time. So you go on board the ship as a consultant more than anything to kind of harden the vessel, take them through drills, and then you had the GSF on there as the armed contingent, which were probably as much use as chocolate teapots, really. And yeah, so to the story. So we flew into Port Harcourt, and we were due to board a vessel in Port Harcourt. That evening, we had a phone call to say that there was two of us, me and my colleague. We had a phone call to say that the ship had been approached or attacked on its way around from Lagos. We need to change your embarkation point from Port Harcourt to a place called Warri at the time. And well, it is still called Warri, not Warri, it hasn't changed. But place
and named
Warri.
after you now, isn't it?
Yeah. And so we got the warrant order through to change the embarkation location. So we looked at it on the FCO map, and you've got kind of Nigeria, and most of it's yellow, as in it's advised against travel. And you look at Warri, and it's got a big red circle around it, as in do not go here under any circumstances. So me and the guy that I was out with, we were like, So raised it to the company, and they were like, "Oh, don't worry, we've changed an agent. You've got another agent. You've got your GSF with you. You'll be fine." So obviously, typical ex-bootnet mentality. Just get on with it. So off we went. Picked up another agent on the way. Travelled over to the hotel. We checked into the hotel in Warri, and then we were sat having dinner. Just chilled, like literally just two of us in there. There was no one else there. And all of a sudden, this big Nigerian army officer comes in, sits down in front of us both, and goes, "Why are you here?" And I look at each other and we're like, And I was on the phone to Zara at the time. I was like, "I'm gonna have to go, love. I'll call you back." So I hung up, and then he goes, "Why are you here?" And we're here to do ship protection, protect the vessel from the Nigerian piracy. And he was like, "You're here to steal Nigeria's oil." I was like, whoa. Like, no. I was like, no. But at this time, I was like, right. So I dialed our in-country manager at the time, and I was like, "Mate, I think we've got a bit of a situation here." And I just kept it on loudspeaker on the table. He goes, "You're here to steal Nigeria's oil. You're coming with me." And we were like, not going anywhere. And then, like, literally, it was like something out of a cartoon. Like, clicked his fingers, and all these like Nigerian army soldiers come in. Must have been about 10 of them, all with AKs, just stood in the line. And it was like, "You're coming with us." So we were like, "Yeah, okay, we'll come with you." So they searched our rooms, and obviously we had all the kit in there. Pelly case full of bloody MVGs, med kits,
no
radios.
No weapons?
No weapons, no, luckily. So obviously that didn't really help our situation, but it did in a way. But to them, it kind of looked suspicious because two white guys carrying pelly cases with kit in. It was a bit dodgy.
But surely this is the norm of how other companies were operating there.
There wasn't a lot of other companies operating at the time. I think, port to port were
We never worked on the west side, so never kind of, it was obviously a completely different model, isn't it?
A lot of it was east, wasn't it? There was only a few that were kind of breaking the way into west. But, you know, we had all of our paperwork, you know, all of our folders of our SOPs and everything was legit. You know, we showed them all this stuff, but they were having none of it. Obviously, the story transpires later why, but so they took us out into the forecourt, and then we had our GSF with us, and they were like, they're with us, you know, leave them alone. It's official duty. Blah blah blah. Obviously, both teams are armed. We're in the middle. They're trying to get us into the trucks. They're like one side. Yeah, the Nigerian army the other side. They start gobbing off at each other. We're like stuck in the middle like that. There's a guy, one guard next to us. Then you start hearing weapons start to get cocked, and you start trying to make yourself a little bit smaller. Like, then all of a sudden, the fucking guard next to us, he NDs into the ground.
Right.
Now, literally at that point, I was like, it's going to kick off a contact here. Luckily, it didn't, but like, he just missed my foot, or shit popped up in the air, and we then got bungled into the cars, taken away.
Were they quite aggressive with you at that point?
Yeah, they were quite
about,
physical, quite hands-on. Yeah. Like, they didn't beat us or anything, but it was like grabbing you by the scruff of the neck, like lobbing you in the car, handcuffed.
No, at least you're getting paid 350 quid a day to be here.
Yeah, I don't think it was 350 then. I think it had dropped a little bit at that point. But anyway, yeah. And we got took off to some outpost location that looks like got something back from the 40s, and we walk in, and this story goes on for quite a while.
We've got time.
So we walk in, and there's about another 10 Nigerians all lined up, and they've got all like it's pumping gear. It's like, that's weird. Whatever. Got shackled. Both got put into two different cells. Cells I can imagine.
When you say shackled, what, together?
Handcuff, the old school proper handcuff.
Change between legs as well.
Legs as well, like so you like.
The proper sort of slave type.
Yeah, the old slave. Yeah. Was it 90 Days a Slave? Isn't it? So if you think of the cells that they had in the film, it was like literally an exact replica of the cells that we were in, and then so we get bungled in there, and I think it was a couple of days passed, and then. They didn't really say much to us all at that point, and then we got moved at this point. We like bare feet.
What were you like at this point? Yeah, as in like fear-wise, kind of.
It was really, really kind of surreal experience. I don't think any time I was ever really scared. In back of my mind, I'm quite a chilled out person, so I was just kind of like, it'll blow over. You know, we haven't done anything wrong. We'll get let out soon. This
is a bit inconvenient.
Yeah, it was actually more
worry about Zara.
More of an inconvenience.
The shit you're in.
Yeah, at that point I didn't really know what was happening back home. But again, it had only kind of been 24, 48 hours at that point. So we then got moved up to the headquarters. Again, we got pulled out. We were set to one side, the Nigerians were on the other side, and we had our backs to them, and all of a sudden we created this taser, and then had this whip, and they started whipping and beating Nigerians. I was sat there going, "Fuck, we're next." But look at that, it never actually happened. But the thought was there. It was like, we're going to get a good kicking in a minute.
So sorry, mate. To go back in the first 2 days where you were shackled up, that was in an old style.
Yeah, that was that. Yeah, pretty much like that. For
they feeding you, and then
no, I don't think we got anything in the first couple of days.
Right,
we got water. In bags, funnily enough.
That's been hard to keep your head at the beginning of that, like sort of when you're in.
I don't know. I think in the first 2 days, I think it was still kind of like shock and capture. You know, when you think I'll be let out in a minute because it's just
it's a big misunderstanding.
Still in your same clothes, not your clothes. They didn't change your clothes.
It was in the same. We were in the same clothes the whole time that we were there for. We didn't get out of that. We didn't get our stuff back. Pretty much at all. I think we got our bags back right at the very end. I mean, we were there for 3 weeks in total, but we got moved around a good few times. And like I say, when we went to the headquarters, we were kept. It was probably worse because we were in with other Nigerians, and at this point in some weird cell, which was like a mud shell with some different rooms in, but everyone kind of was free to walk around. But it was really like cramped, and there was like a little pipe hanging out of the ceiling with some water trickling out of it, which was the shower. You know, the toilet was a corner. Proper field world type.
Yeah. What were you sleeping on?
Stuff, just the floor.
Just floor?
Yeah, just like stone, sandy, concrete, hard floor.
And they fed. I take it they fed you there.
Yeah, I think we got bits. We got bits of food there. I can't remember all the bits of that what we ate and stuff there, but yeah, water, a bit of food. We got took out at one point, but took inside quite a nice office, and the guy was talking to us again. Was like, "What are you doing here?" Blah blah. I went through the same story, and he was like, "Oh, it's all a big misunderstanding. You'll be out soon." So again, you like, bit of hope. You're like, cool. We'll leave soon. We'll all be over. That never happens, and then we all get took out of there. We all get lined up as like a load of 4-tonners, and again, I'm still shackled. And it's like, well, we're moving you down to the Triple S headquarters, which is their kind of secret service, basically the Nigerian equivalent to secret service. I think it was back down towards Port Harcourt way, and we all lined up, and then this army guy goes out and goes, right, you all be moved down here. He goes, any of you try and run, you'll be shot. So we're like, okay, I'm not going to try and run. We're shackled anyway. So, okay, you get put on these 4-tonners, like literally cuffed behind, and cuffed to like the old chair in the middle. And you're thinking, God, if this thing rolls, like, I'm going to lose arms and stuff here. But ended up going down to this next location, I'd say the Triple S kind of headquarters. At that point, me and my colleague got split. You imagine like a port cabin. In the port cabin, there's a door in the middle. Walk in that door, like a little kind of passageway, and then again, a cell that side, a cell that side. So I was bungled in with about another 5 Nigerians on that side. He was bungled in the other side, so obviously we couldn't speak to each other. But at this one, they then shackled us to chained us to each other. So there was like 5 of us all chained. Like me chained to like 4 Nigerians, 5 Nigerians or whatever. And you imagine like a port cabin, shake on, and then 40-degree heat. It was pretty honking. And then I remember getting fed there because they'd bring in like a bowl of slop and just put it down, and they're going straight in with the hands, and you're just going, okay, now if I don't die of the mosquitoes or malaria, which is another story, then I'm going to get something and die of food poisoning or some weird disease.
Was you eating that?
Yeah, we ate bits of it, yeah, but there's no toilets either. So you have to just get a toilet. It took to like a
when somebody pictures that in their head, is something like Papillon, the film, kind of like chained to each other on the floor, like African country.
Yeah, basically.
Kind of eating food off the floor.
Best
you must have wasted away a fair bit there.
Yeah, massive beard, long hair, again at the time. I lost a good few kilos. But I kind of got into the mindset of obviously the lads that got done in Eritrea.
Yeah.
Not about a year or so before, they were there for 6 months. So I kind of got 6 months in my head. I was like, I'm going to be here for 6 months. The company will look after the wife and the kids. It'll be fine. And then we were there, and then they were interviewing us, but it was like a big board table, and there was like loads of like high-ranking officials there, all like interviewing. Again, same story. We had to do ship protection tasks, blah, blah, blah. And then again, I remember getting taken into this room, air conditioning room, and we're like, okay, we're good to go here. We're going to get let out. And they marched out inside the parade square, and they had all the Nigerians lined up, and then all the equipment out in front of them, and all the media was there. Like literally every single tabloid was there. Put us on the end and went, these are the people that are here to steal Nigeria's oil. It was just like, fuck. And that was it. So like if you Google it now, you can see us. That picture is there on open source. It was all lined up in front of all the media, all the different newspapers taking pictures and putting their story to it. So from there we moved over to, they just took us, they took me and my colleague, and they left the Nigerians there over to another location, which was more like an office type place. And they threw us into an office, and there's two wooden tables, which then became our beds. Again, no pillows or anything, just literally sleeping on a table. And it transpires that there was 2 other kind of wealthy Nigerians that were involved in the whole situation. They were on the other side, and we actually got to know them quite well. And luckily, they were buying us food, so that's when we started to eat okay, because they'd send the guard out, they'd give them some money, they'd go and get us like fried chicken and rice and stuff, and we actually started to eat it okay there. And then I remember the FCO came, because again at this point we didn't know if people knew where we were, what the story was. I mean, even if anybody knew anything about it. But luckily, because I kept my phone on, and the in-country manager heard what was going on. He kind of got our
If you didn't do that, I suppose everyone back home could just think you're on ship.
Well, yeah, the time.
Yeah, I
was
guess
working.
they wouldn't really know where we were or what we were doing. You know, it'd probably been quite a while. Obviously, we wouldn't miss our check-ins and stuff. But
So the FCA got involved pretty quickly then, I'm assuming. From
I assume so. I mean, this
like
is
the
I think this
conversation
is probably,
started anyway.
probably a good 2 weeks in at this point. They remember the FCO coming in, didn't speak to us. They opened the office door at this point, and obviously we were sat there looking all comfortable. And the FCO just walked past, looked in, kind of just like went.
Well, British.
That was it. Yeah, British FCO, and went in, chatted to the whoever was in charge at the time, came back out, didn't say anything, just walked straight past and left. And we were like, "Hi guys."
Yeah,
like, you want to
check in?
Hello, check in, tell us what's going on, and yes, that's probably got a bit of my own opinion on the FCO now. What use they actually are.
But I'll tell you, they were working it. They're finding a way of getting both you guys out.
Well, no, essentially, what I found out later was that the FCO were all their role is to make sure that you're not being mistreated,
Right.
and make sure that you're getting the basics.
There's no work from them to get you out.
Not that I know of or knew of at the time. No, I think everything was done by the company and by our in-country people.
I mean,
because obviously because it was West African, because we were working it was Port West Africa, they had to have Nigerian owners as well.
Yeah.
So obviously they were involved, luckily, and they were quite influential to a degree. But they've been following us around, which again we didn't know.
Right.
So again, it all came to light that luckily everyone would know where we'd been right from the very start, but we didn't know that. And I remember one of the guys came in towards the end. We were there for 3 weeks in total, and was like, "Guys, we got you. Like, you'll be out soon."
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going over to the courthouse, and we got bailed. So we weren't let go. We were bailed, and then we had to keep going backwards and forwards for court cases, which went on for about probably another 9 months or so after that.
Well, you stayed in country?
No, we were allowed to fly home. We were allowed to fly home, but we had to come back in and turn up to court every time.
Yeah, I knew this bit before, but I don't know if I would have kept going back for a court case into something
I know,
ridiculous as for the risk of
one of those things,
being imprisoned.
Again, we followed the instructions of the company. There's an extradition treaty between Nigeria and the UK, so I guess worst case.
It's not exactly British judiciary system, is it?
No, where I guess.
But those obviously that 3 week period when sort of spoke out went out, it came to an end. But I imagine if you obviously you're a pretty chill guy anyway. But if you weren't, we know your colleague as well. Obviously, not here to speak about him, and his version of events might be he had a probably different experience to you.
Yeah.
But if you're on your own completely without him being there, I imagine it would have been a bit harder even.
Yeah, I think
nice
definitely.
to have like someone else with you. It's like
I think it definitely helps having someone there. I mean,
if I was with him, I'd be like, don't fill me in for the instead.
Kill me.
Yeah. But it would have been probably.
Yeah, it would have been
I
hard.
would imagine
I mean,
harder
we were
on your own.
separated for parts of it anyway, but like towards again the last kind of 5 days we were, like I say, at the headquarters, and there's nothing in there apart from a desk and a couple of chairs. Obviously, we made the most of it. But there was a dictionary. Remember, we kept reading the dictionary and testing each other. Obviously, I was terrible, and also my colleague was very good. So, but yeah, that's kind of how we
did you
passed
pass
the time.
all that time? Yeah, literally nothing. Just talking. You must have spun every dit you both knew.
Basically, yeah, spoke a lot. It was just keeping your mind clear. A couple of times I did slip. I let my mind slip back into thinking about the kids, wife, what's happening with them. Am I actually going to see them again? But I shut it down because that was just
So that must have been the hardest part.
Yeah, that was the hardest part. But yeah, you learn to shut those things out pretty easily.
What was going on for the 3 weeks back home while you for these 3 weeks? With your wife and the company, everything else.
I think probably better speaking to her about that one day. But
I mean, she was obviously coordinating. Yeah, trying to get you released.
I mean, obviously she was informed. I think within 24 hours. She may tell you differently about the situation, but I think it was very much played down at the time.
Yeah.
Because I thought they thought it would be over really quickly, we'd be out. Then obviously it escalated, and they got obviously different outside agencies involved to help them negotiate. She was getting regular visits, I think, and updates. I think she was phoning them quite a lot as well. Obviously, you know, as I was
regular visits.
so
What from the government
them.
or
sorry,
government or police or?
No, not I'm aware of. I don't think they were really involved that much at the time. They might have been behind the scenes, but I'm assuming the FCO would have notified the government, but we didn't really have any engagement with them at all.
Yeah.
And nothing post that either. Nothing's ever been said.
Yeah, obviously, I know you went back and forth there for the trial, but that 3-week period, how did you know that was coming to an end? Did you feel like, oh, we're going to get released? Just one day they just came in and let you go?
It was just over really quick. It was over really quickly. Kind of within like 24 hours. Yeah, we think our local, our in-country kind of owner or manager, one of the managers, he just turned up and he was like, again, I can't remember exactly what happened, but I remember him coming in vaguely and giving, you know, be over soon, we're going to get you over to the court and we could get you out on bail. Yeah, we got bailed, like I say, then we ended up going back and forth probably 4 or 5 times. But every time we go, somebody wouldn't show up. One of the Nigerians wouldn't show up. So we'd get thrown out, got to go home.
What were they trying to charge you with then? What was it?
Illegal oil bunkering.
Oh, that's what I thought.
Yeah, they were just trying to charge us with illegal oil bunkering. So
pretty cool thing to be charged with, to be fair.
Yeah, if you sent down for it.
To be fair.